if you've listened to all those ways and you've thought, yes, I think that's something I would like to buy, I think that's usable, I have 3 tips for you just to make sure whenever you go to buy this, you're getting the best version. Back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I want to talk to you all about the Louis Vuitton Key Clay or the Louis Vuitton Key Pouch, and specifically whether or not I think it's worth it at today's price given the recent Louis Vuitton price increases, which I did talk about in a previous video. 7 ways that I have, 7 ideas I have for you on how to use this little number, and also some tips I have that if you are going to buy this, on how I think you can help yourself get the best version of it with all of the current concerns about quality issues coming from Louis Vuitton. So let's get started, and let's start with whether or not I still think this is worth it. So this little piece is now I have 2. I have one in the damier ebene and I have one in the classic monogram. My preferred print from Louis Vuitton is probably the classic monogram, but I do also really like the damier ebene. I use both of these. You can see they're, and you can hear both of these are in use, and I use them both regularly. When I bought mine, they were £140. Now they are £215 to buy, which is quite a substantial increase on the price of what these used to be. Now, previously I would have said to you that I think this is a really good entry-level Louis Vuitton piece. Now, even at £140, that's still a lot of money. But for Louis Vuitton price levels, it is entry level, and I think it is a good, or I did think it was a good starter piece. And to be honest, I still think it's a good piece. I still think it's a good starter piece, and I still think it's a really good entry level Louis Vuitton piece. I think it will let you get to feel and get used to working with and using the canvas. It will let you see whether or not you like the Louis Vuitton canvas, or if you would prefer leather, or you just don't get along with it at all. I think it allows you to try it out before you spend the money on moving forward to a bag. That being said, if your end goal is to buy a bag, just be careful that you really need this, because you could be using £215 out of your pot towards the bag on this. That being said, I really love these. I think there's a lot of uses for them, and even at today's price, I think they are a good bag. Turning to the 7 uses that I feel these little guys have, and that ties into why I think they are a good purchase even at today's price. And the first one is how I use my monogram version, and it is as a mini catch-all in my bags. So I carry this with me in my Louis Vuitton Neverfull GM every day going to work. That bag is huge, but I do have a handbag organizer in it, which helps give it a little bit more organization. But I also, if I'm not going to work, I use mini bags very, very, very regularly. I love using mini bags, and I will generally also use this as a mini catch-all in my mini bags. The good thing about these is they are quite narrow. Now this one has a lot in it, and I'll show you what's in it. But look how narrow those little SLGs are. So they are really good to slip into a mini bag to hold those little pieces that you maybe need, like plasters or a lip balm or other things, just to slip in there. I think they're really, really good for that use. I even use it in my big bag. This one has in it headphones, and I know I still have the old wire headphones. I really need to get a pair of AirPods. It has in it some cash, it has some fobs, it has migraine tablets in it, and this gets used regularly by me as a mini catch-all, and it's one of my favourite uses for this. I think the value of it for me, given how much I use it both on a day-to-day work basis and also in my mini bags, makes this actually a really excellent piece to buy. Second use is how I use this one, and it is as a mini coin purse, and you can see the coins in there. Now, I do have the Louis Vuitton round coin purse that has been discontinued, but where I live on the island of Ireland, there are 2 currencies. Part of the island uses euros, part of the island uses sterling, and I would find myself quite regularly being in between currencies and using both. So in the round coin purse, I have sterling coins, and in this coin purse, I have euro coins, and that's where I keep my euro coins. In Ireland, there are a lot of toll bridges, things like that, and you need coins, or it's handy to have coins for them. And I use this damier ebene version as a mini coin purse, and I think that is quite a good use for this. Again, being so thin and narrow, and it doesn't take up too much room, but it gives you that look, and I just enjoy using it. The third use for this would be carrying on from the coin purse, and this could be also used as a card holder. Now, I use a flat card holder, also from Louis Vuitton, to carry my cards. I also have the longer card holder, which I use, but this is a really good size to use as a card holder also, as well as coins. I have on occasion taken one of these out with whatever I was taking in it. I had in it a card, I had in it some cash, and I had a key off the fob, and that was all I carried. So this also works really well as a card holder. Some people don't particularly like the flat card holders. They can be tight getting the cards in and out of the slot. This one, actually, you can fit quite a few cards in. It won't be as cumbersome to get in and out. It's still a thin design, so it's not going to take up too much room in your purse or your bag. It's not like using a traditional purse, and I think that's a really good use for this also. Fourth way to use this is probably what it was intended for, and it is as a key pouch. Now, Bestie has one of these, and he does use it as a traditional key pouch. He has his car fob and his keys on this, and then he just tucks them inside here whenever he is using it, and his keys stay nice and neat and in this and not flapping about in his work bag, and that's how he uses it every single day. This I used to use as a key pouch. I also have the 4-ring key holder. I use the 4-ring key holder for my everyday keys, my house keys and my office keys, and I used to use this as my car key holder because the fob would fit on here and the fob fit into the pouch very nicely. I then would have maybe taken, if I was stopping at the garage or something on the way home from work, I would have taken a card in that as well, and that's all I would have taken. The only reason I don't use this as a key holder anymore is that my husband and I will quite often jump between the two cars depending on which one of us is collecting both of the children. Now, both cars have car seats, but one is bigger, so the one that is very often collecting the children will take the bigger car, and that meant we were swapping car keys quite often. And when my car key was in this, if I had anything else in it, he was taking the car key, and then I needed what was in it, so it made much more sense in the end to just take the car key off and let it be a key on its own with its little tag, and that just goes between us and we lift which one we need. And that's the only reason I'm not using this anymore for my car key, but I think it's actually a really good option for that. Fifth way to use this is kind of along with the mini catch-all, but you can use this as an earphone holder. Now, I say that because there are specific earphone holders that you can now buy. There are AirPod holders, there are ones that hang. My friend Lorna recently bought a Chanel one, which looks really cool on her and made me think, oh, that's nice, but it is expensive. And if you have one of these and you have your AirPods, or like me, your old-fashioned wire ones, because I be old-fashioned, you can put them in here. And if you didn't have all of these other bits and pieces that are in with them, they're not going to get as tangled. It's going to keep them really neat. It's not going to take up too much room in your bag, and it's going to be much cheaper alternative to buy an AirPod holder or an phones holder, in my case, without buying one of the actual cases that are designed for it by both Louis Vuitton and Chanel, and probably some of the other houses, because they're a lot more expensive. The sixth way to use one of these little guys is as a bag charm. Now, I have one bag charm. I really like it. It has the heart design on it. I am not someone who spends a huge amount of money on bag charms. I can sometimes get carried away with some of the whimsical designs, but I try to limit buying them because I find when I do, I don't use them overly much. This can be both. This can be used as a bag charm hanging from your bag with this, but it's also practical. So this could be hanging from your bag with some of the items that you need to get from it on a more urgent basis, so as you know where they are. Now, you can hang it on the outside of your bag so as you get the look of a bag charm and it adds that to your bag, or you can hang it from the strap on the inside of your bag, or somewhere there is a hook inside your bag so as it's more secure. So another way to use this, rather than buying an individual bag charm and adding that amount of expense, is to use this as your bag charm, and then you're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting this as the mini catch-all or the coin holder or the card holder or whatever it may be, but you're also getting the look of having a Louis Vuitton charm hanging from your bag. Now, the seventh way to use this, and my last way to use this, may sound a little bit off to some people, and they would be thinking, I'm never going to use it like that. But you can also hang this from your belt or from your belt loop if you are wearing any trousers or anything that has a belt loop, and you can hang this from this. Now, I have done this, but I'm going to be honest, I did not do it because it's a look that I was trying to achieve. I did not do it because it was part of an outfit that I was putting together. I did it because I was out with my children, and there was the two of them and one of me, and they were running like crazy, and they were into everything, and I had this with me and it was in my pocket, but in it I had my bank card, I had the car key, I had the house key I think as well, and I had a little bit of cash. And because I was playing with them and chasing them, I was conscious this was going to fall out of my pocket because my pockets were quite loose. So I took this out and I hooked it onto my belt lip. Now, I'm sure some people were looking at it going, oh, don't think so. But it helped, it worked. It worked as a security measure. It worked to put this somewhere that I didn't have to worry about it. The zip is upwards, so nothing was going to fall out of it. It was secure, and that's where I kept it until we got back into the car. So that is another use for this little guy, that it can hang from your belt and just give you that added security if you're looking for ways to use this. Now, if you've listened to all those ways and you've thought, yes, I think that's something I would like to buy, I think that's usable, I have 3 tips for you just to make sure whenever you go to buy this, you're getting the best version. And this really comes from, there have been concerns recently about Louis Vuitton and their quality control. There have been people have shown some videos with some howlers that they've got from Louis Vuitton and had to send back. So if you're looking for this, if you go into the store and you get it, check these things out. If it gets ordered to you, if you get it online and you get it home, check these things out before you decide you're keeping it. The first one is the stitching. Now, when I got my first monogram, and I'll just take the coins out of this to show you what I mean. When I got my first monogram key clay, it had this problem and I did send it back because I wasn't happy with it. And it was whenever you looked through the pouch, and you're not going to really see it because that is so dark. But if you look in there, the stitching at the bottom of this is very close together. So you're not seeing the light shining through this. You're not seeing my hand behind it. You're not seeing any movement behind there. The first version that I received from Louis Vuitton on the monogram, you could see the stitching was so loose on this, so far apart, that if I did this, you could see daylight coming through it. So when I got it very excitedly, because I like pouches and I like things that organize, so I was excited to get this little piece, and it had been sold out for a long time. And when I looked through it and looked down in it, all I could see was the sunlight and the daylight coming up through it. And I thought, I'm not happy with that, because 1, the cost of it, although I didn't pay what it is today, but 1, the cost of it, 2, just the quality of what you're buying. It's a luxury piece. And I was also a bit worried that the stitching may become more loose or move more going forward, and it might not be secure. So I sent it back and ordered another one. And luckily the 2 that I have now have very tight stitching at the bottom, and there's no gap coming through them, and you're not seeing any light. Second tip is to try on whichever one of these that you order to check that the pattern lines up at the bottom. So you can see at the bottom, the fleur-de-lis here is lining up and the damier ebene is lining up. Now the damier ebene is probably not perfect, but it has got a little bit stretched from use, and that will move the pattern slightly because it's the canvas. But when you first get it, try and check that your fleur-de-lis here is lining up and your damier ebene squares are lining up. Now, there might be slight variance because these are handmade and they're just maybe not going to be exactly millimeter perfect, but you should check it and be happy with how it looks, and it should look like it's lining up. And I would say check that just before you take the version that you're getting. The third thing to try and check is that the zip covers as much of the pouch as possible. I mean, that sounds really silly and self-explanatory, but you want your zip to be covering as close to edge as possible. Now, because of the nature of how a zip is put in, you're never going to get it to the very, very top, but you want it as close as possible, so as when this is tight, nothing's falling out of it. And you want not to have too much gap down here. Now, the way they're made, you are going to have a little bit of a gap. I have less gap on the monogram than I do on the damier ebene. And you want to try and just check the ones that you're getting that the zip is as far across as possible, just to give you that added security. Now, if Connor is watching this with his reels, I should be telling you to check that your zip is buttery smooth, that your zip is smooth on your item. And yes, you should check that your zip is smooth on your item, but a zip is a zip. But make sure, obviously, when you're checking it, that you're not feeling any great resistance, or it's not anything that you would be worried about maybe as a flaw. But those are the tips that I have if you are buying one of these, that you check your item just to try and get the very best quality version that you can. That is my mini review of the Louis Vuitton Key Clay. Those are the 7 uses that I think you could consider using this for, and also the tips I have on the quality issue to try and get the best version you have. If you have enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Please do consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching me. Thank you for being here. Please take care, and I will see you again in the next one.